Every business owner I talk to right now is convinced AI is going to scale their business. They're buying tools, they're watching tutorials, they're running pilots, and 95% of those pilots fail to reach production. That's not my opinion, that's MIT. Here's the thing, AI doesn't scale your business. AI scales whatever you already have. If you don't have systems, it scales your chaos. If you don't have delegation, it scales your bottlenecks. If you don't have documentation, it scales your guessing. That's not a shortcut, that's a faster way to break things. In the next 12 minutes, here's what we're covering. Why AI fails when your business isn't ready for it, what ready actually looks like, and the 5 specific systems people try to shortcut with AI that you can't skip. Let's go. I'm Kevin, I work with Pro Sulum, and this is going to make some people uncomfortable. If you're curious whether a VSA fits your business, the link's in the description. It's just a conversation. Let me give you the numbers first. 80% of AI projects fail to deliver business value. That's RAND 2026. 95% of generative AI pilots never reach production. That's MIT. Only 5% of organizations that start an AI initiative actually achieve measurable returns. That's IBM. Those aren't outliers, that's the standard outcome. And the question worth asking is, what are the 5% doing differently? They didn't start with AI, they started with process. What that means in practice, document your operations before you automate them. Fix the handoffs before you wire tools into them. Build actual accountability into the process before you try to multiply that process by 10. None of that looks like progress. It doesn't generate screenshots, there's no announcement. It's just the work that separates the 5% from everyone else. Here's what goes wrong. A business owner brings in an AI tool. The tool connects to their existing workflows, and the existing workflows are a mess. Tasks that live in someone's head, handoffs that depend on tribal knowledge, stuff done differently by every person every time. AI doesn't fix that. AI reads it and repeats it, faster. EnvisionUp documented this pattern in 2025. The headline was, AI won't fix your broken processes, it'll just break them faster. That's not a take, that's documented across hundreds of implementations. BCG came out with similar data in 2026. You need to redesign end-to-end processes to get step changes in productivity. Dropping a tool on top of the old workflow produces no material improvement. None. IBM quantified the gap.
Paying down your process debt before AI implementation improves your AI ROI by up to 29% just from doing the boring work first. The boring work is documentation. The boring work is delegation. The boring work is building systems that don't depend on you to run. Most owners are skipping that work and going straight to the tool, and then wondering why the tool didn't deliver. The person who handles the boring work has a specific name, a VISA, a virtual systems architect, not a virtual assistant, not a task taker. A VISA documents the process as they work it. They build the system. They own the ongoing execution. Once that's in place, once the process is clean and running, then you layer AI on top, and that's when AI actually works. This is the order the 5% figured out. Document first, delegate execution, then automate a working system. Here are the 5 systems where people try to skip that order. Every single one of them has AI shortcuts that look good until they don't. System 1, documentation. You could do this yourself. Loom for video walkthroughs, Notion for housing the documents, something like ChatGPT to turn transcripts into written SOPs. Setup is maybe 8 to 10 hours of focused work. Maintenance is 2 to 3 hours a week, reviewing, updating, and writing new processes as things change. And you're not writing one document. You're writing intake, fulfillment, communication, billing, error handling, and whatever specific to your delivery model. Each one takes a full cycle to get right. You also need a place to store them that people actually open. The honest friction point is drift. You do it once, life gets busy, and 3 months later, half your docs are outdated. They describe how things used to work, not how they actually work now. That is doable, The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A visa doesn't just write the document, they own it. When the process changes, they update it without being asked. The documentation stays current because it's their job, not your side project. System 2. Delegation and handoff. Most owners think delegation fails because of the person they delegated to. It doesn't. Delegation fails because the handoff has no structure. The person got handed a task without enough context to complete it without coming back 3 times to ask what you meant, and every time they come back, you're doing the task in your head anyway. You could build a delegation system yourself, Asana or ClickUp with task templates, a clear intake process, defined approval steps. Getting it set up right takes a weekend. You'd write the templates, define ownership for each type of work, and train whoever you're delegating to. Maintenance is ongoing, reviewing completed work, catching dropped balls, handling escalations when context was missing. The friction point is the handoff itself. Someone doesn't have enough background. A task gets done wrong, you end up redoing it or spending more time explaining than the task actually takes. At that point, you're managing a system that's costing you more than it's saving. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A visa is trained to work from documentation. They read the process, execute it, and only escalate what genuinely needs your judgment. Everything else just gets done.
System 3. Onboarding new people. Every time you bring someone new in, you're starting from scratch. You're explaining everything again. You're re-answering questions you've answered before. The knowledge lives in your head, and it transfers slowly and inconsistently. You could build an onboarding system yourself, a training document, a video library, a checklist, a 90-day plan, a role-specific FAQ so your new hire isn't interrupting your morning with questions you've answered 100 times. Realistic build time is 2 weekends of solid work. Maintenance means keeping it current whenever your process changes. The friction is that onboarding documentation gets ignored by the people writing it the moment they're done writing it. It goes stale fast. New hires notice. They end up asking the same questions the system was supposed to answer. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA builds onboarding for themselves as they learn the role. They document the job as they do it. When the next person comes in, the material is already there and it's already current. If what we've been talking about sounds like your situation, there's a link in the description to book a free call with my team. No pitch. We just talk about your business, what's not working, and whether a VSA is actually the right fit. If it's not, we'll tell you that too. System 4. Reporting and feedback loops. You need to know what's actually working. Which clients are happy, who on the team is carrying weight and who isn't, where the money is coming from and where it's quietly leaking out. Without that data, you're running on feel, and feel is almost always wrong in at least one direction. Most owners I talk to think they know their business. The reporting proves them wrong in specific, expensive ways. Running blind is expensive. You could build a reporting system yourself. Google Sheets with manual data entry, a simple dashboard in Airtable, maybe a basic CRM if you're ambitious. Build time is honestly a few days. Maintenance is whoever's job it is to pull the data, update the sheet, and flag anomalies. The friction point is that reporting systems require consistency every single week. The moment the person responsible skips one update, the data starts to rot. 2 months of missed updates and you don't trust the dashboard anymore, so you stop looking at it. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA makes reporting part of their process. It doesn't require a separate ask. It's just done every cycle because the system says so. System 5. AI integration itself. This is the one people try to do first. They want to automate before they've documented. They want AI to write their SOPs before they've run the process enough to know what the SOP should actually say. The underlying problem is garbage in, garbage out. Except it's not one bad output, it's every output, at scale, automatically, faster than you could generate it by hand. That's what AI amplifies what you already have actually means in practice.
You could set up AI automation yourself, Zapier connected to your CRM, an AI writing tool in your email workflow, automated reports from your data, maybe a weekend to configure. Ongoing cost is $100 a month in tools, plus time to patch when things break and reprompt when output quality drifts.
The friction is that automation without clean inputs is just automated noise. If the process you're automating isn't consistent, you've automated inconsistent garbage at scale. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA runs the process manually first. They know it well enough to know which steps are actually automatable. They flag where AI makes sense. Then you automate something that's already working. A services firm with 30 employees tried to skip this. They brought in an AI content tool to scale their marketing. No documented process for what good content looked like. No one assigns to own the workflow. Within 60 days, the AI was producing content with the wrong voice, wrong offer, wrong positioning. They had to pull 3 months of content and do a manual audit. That's not a tech failure, that's a systems failure. What they should have done first is write down what good content looks like, who approves it, what voice it uses, what problem it's solving. That's maybe 4 hours of documentation work. Instead, they skipped it and spent 60 hours cleaning up after a tool that was doing exactly what it was told to do with bad inputs. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. There is no shortcut that bypasses the systems work. There's never been one. AI didn't change that. Neither did SaaS, the cloud, or any other wave of this changes everything technology going back 30 years. The expectation keeps arriving dressed in different clothes. You can skip the foundation and still get the building. You can't. The businesses that scale fast built the operational foundation first, and then every tool they added worked because the foundation was clean. AI is a multiplier. A 10 times multiplier on a broken operation gives you 10 times the chaos. A 10 times multiplier on a documented, delegated, working system gives you actual scale. The actual shortcut is delegating the system's work to someone who's built to do it. That person exists. They're not a task runner. They're not someone you manage hour by hour. They walk into your operation, figure out what's undocumented, document it as they go, and then own running it. The system gets built as a side effect of the work getting done. Pro Sulum has placed VSAs in more than 40 industries. Clients typically get back 20 to 30 hours a week. The cost is roughly half what an in-house hire runs. And because the VSA documents as they work, you don't lose the knowledge when they move on. It lives in documents, not in someone's head. Document first, delegate execution, then layer AI on top of something clean. That's the order. If you're at the point where you know something has to change, book a call. It's free. You talk to someone on my team, not a bot, not a form. You tell them what's going on in your business. They'll be straight with you about whether a VSA makes sense for where you are right now. If it does, you'll hear what that looks like and what it costs. If it doesn't, you'll know that too, and you're not out anything. The link's in the description. Just book it. And if this was useful, hit subscribe. We put out one of these every week. I'm Kevin. I'll see you on the next one.